Yes, ma'am. Sheetal ma'am, you wanted to talk something?
No, no, no.
Okay.
A very good afternoon to all. Uh, we are streaming live on IAP India YouTube channel. You may subscribe to this channel to get regular updates when we upload our webinars or when we are live with our webinars. Today's webinar is being organized by IAPWC Nagpur district of Maharashtra state. The moderators for today's webinar are Dr. Megha Ladha, Dr. Pallavi Zade, and Dr. Sonal Bhagat. If you have any questions to ask the speaker during the presentation, you can put it in the chat section. So now I ask the organizers to please start with the session.
Good afternoon, everyone. It's pleasure to have you all as participants and all my dignitaries. Before we start, I would like to introduce you about IAPWC. IAPWC functions under the guidance of our national head, Dr. Ruchi Varsne, and IAP President Executive, Dr. Sanjeev Jha. We have 5 zones in India with heads for each. Dr. Pooja Kamble is the West Zone head. The state team of IAP Maharashtra includes state coordinators Dr. Suvarna Ganveer, joint coordinator Dr. Snehal Patel, and sub-coordinators Dr. Uttara Mohan, Dr. Priya Karade, Dr. Nirali Sangvi. In Maharashtra, IPWC has conducted 40 plus low cost activities like CME, workshops, public awareness campaigns, health camps in various districts. It's been since 2018. We have also organized 31 webinars in past 3 months on topics such as PNF for trunk, NDT, kinetic chain activation techniques, fitness testing, SCI rehab, PCOD, ICF, etc. In, in first corporate IAP conference, which was held in 2019, Maharashtra State received award for Best State IAPWC. We are constantly working towards expanding the scope of activities and workshop for the benefit of our profession. We would appreciate your feedback on our webinar. Please submit your feedback on link provided at the end of this webinar. In this link, you may also give suggestions for webinar topics which you would like to attend. To know about our upcoming events, please follow IAP Women's Cell Facebook page and IAP Facebook page. Today, our webinar on role in physiotherapy on diabetic foot is conducted by Nagpur district, where me as Dr. Megha Ladha is the district coordinator, Dr. Sonal Bhagat and Dr. Pallavi Sade are the district sub-coordinators. During this webinar, if you have any questions, queries, do ask the resource person and you can post them in the chat box. This webinar is also available on YouTube Live too. So this was all about IWC, which is working very hard in this lockdown period also, so that to have an upliftment of the profession. Before I start now, again, I would like to introduce Dr. Sheetal Ram, a resource person. We will just present in a very short, important, fully encouraging, stimulating, motivational video of Dr. Sheetal Ram, which I am sure you will be able to develop confidence to practice clinically with almost a great zeal. So to introduce, we are presenting 2 minutes of her journey in physiotherapy profession as a clinical physiotherapist. I would like to share a screen.
So Megha, your screen sharing is not visible. Can you click on screen share again? It is still not visible.
इधर आए. I'm sure this must be quite inspiring. She is a pioneer in our as a clinical physiotherapist. We would love to hear from you, ma'am, as soon as possible. So over to you, Dr. Sheetal Mundhara, ma'am, our resource person.
Thank you, Megha, for the lovely introduction. And thanks a lot, IFP Women's Cell, and especially Megha, Sonal, and Pallavi for giving me this opportunity to share my thoughts. Uh, Today, my topic is the role of the physiotherapy in diabetic foot. But before going to the role of physiotherapy in diabetic foot, I want to say some important facts about the diabetes. As everyone knows that the diabetes is the most, every year we see the increasing number of the diabetes. Every 1% in 6 is the diabetic, and average money spent is the 15 lakhs for the first 20 years in the diabetic patient. 50% of the diabetic patients are unaware about the severity of the problem. About that same for the diabetic foot, that 50% of the diabetic foot people are like basically neuropathy, is having the neuropathy, and 20 to 40% of the money spent on the complication of the diabetes, right? So it is very important we can take care of the diabetic complications. 80% of the non-traumatic amputation is due to diabetic neuropathy. So some causes for the amputation. One is the neuropathy. In the neuropathy, there is because of the long-term diabetic long-term because long-term neuropathy complications. See, because of the long, okay, the long-term uncontrolled blood sugar levels leads to complications, and neuropathy, and unfelt repetitive trauma in combination causes the diabetic foot ulcers. Approximately half of the patients have significant peripheral arterial diseases. Infection serves as the final event leading up to the amputation. So we can see the 50% of them have a diabetic neuropathy, few of them have ischemic problem, and further leads to amputation. So we will, the foot assessment, dermatological is important. First is a dermatological. They check the redness, swelling, skin breakdown, and which may indicate the ulcers. We can see the ulcers interdigital below the, you can see in growth also. The callus is the most important part in the physiotherapeutic evaluation because the long axis is disturbed due to the weakness of the lower limb muscles, which increases the plantar fascia pressures and the formation of the callus. The studies have shown that diabetic patients have callus 10 times, having callus have 10 times more chances of the ulcers. Vascular assessment. In the vascular assessment, temperature, pulse, and capillary refill is important. There are different devices for the temperature, but the most common is the infrared thermometer. And I think everyone is aware of the infrared thermometer nowadays, right? Difference between the skin temperature of the one and the other foot should be taken in account. Sometimes the both feet are affected. So you can compare with the area above the foot, right? The affected area can be warmer or colder. In our clinic, we have seen more cold temperatures than warm. The abnormal temperature may be the early sign of foot ulcers. We can see the we can check for the two pulses, that is posterior tibial and dorsalis pedis. Posterior tibial can be felt, it is little behind the medial malleolus, and the dorsalis pedis at the dorsum of the foot, right? The normal pulse rate is 60 to 80 per minute. The scale used is 0 to 4. 0 is no palpable pulse, 1 is faint, second is slightly more but diminished than normal, 3 is normal, and the 4 is a bounding pulse. Capillary refill time, we can see this in the clinic very well because in the diabetes affects microcirculation in the small vessels of the toe. So you can apply a blanching pressure on the toe and measure the amount of the time it takes to regain its original color. CRT is usually less than 2 seconds. If it is more than 2 seconds, it is a sign of poor peripheral vasoconstriction. Then comes to the musculoskeleton, which is important for physiotherapist. Foot evaluation should be done first in the standing position. You can check for supination and the pronation of the foot. You can see the Achilles tendons convexity, even the navicular drop. There are different foot deformities in the diabetes. Like most common are the Charcot foot, Union, claw foot. Due to these deformities, there is an increase in the plantar pressures while walking and results into the callus. So we have seen even in the foot scan, you can see in the foot scan, there is a more plantar pressure on mostly on the first and second metatarsal. So while planning the exercises, you can keep in account of the plantar pressures. Third is the neurological assessment. In the neurological assessment, 120 hertz tuning fork is used to assess the vibration. Can be used at medial malleolus or at the great toe. Diminished vibration is the first sign of the neuropathy. So it is very important to do a vibration test. And mostly the second is the Achilles reflex and the proprioception. in our clinics, we observe that the loss of 2-point discrimination preceded the pinprick sensation. So we used in our clinic 2-point discrimination more. Light touch, everyone knows that with the soft cotton and monofilament, the 10-gram monofilament can be used to screen a protective sensation. But it is very important that the device used to should be rested at least for 24 hours to allow the again a recovery of the filament and give the accuracy. Gait is again a most important part in the assessment. The normal walking requires sensory input and the muscular output to execute a required gait. Loss of sensation and the intrinsic muscle dysfunction leads to the alteration of the gait. Due to the decreased walking speed and increased base of support, you can see the step distance in the diabetic patient is reduced and increases the risk of fall. Gait alteration facilitates more foot injuries and contributes the frequent foot ulcers. So while evaluating the gait, you have to take account of contractures, deformities, sensory losses. Like the neurological, vascular, and other footwear assessment is very important because usually a patient don't give much importance in the diabetes. So in the diabetic patient, the toe box should be wide. Usually lace should be used. Medial should be there, and the sock should be comfortable and loose. It is very important that toe box should not be pointed. So you can see this toe box is pointed. Why it is important? Because there will be a crowding of toes, which leads to further pressure on the first metatarsal and further can lead to ulcers. Same for the high heels. In the high heels, the more pressure is given on the forefoot, which may leads to, because of the diabetic neuropathy, may leads to ulcers. For this tight socks, you can see because they are unaware of many of the time the sensation, so tight socks should not be used. Patient should not walk barefoot. Now the role of the physiotherapist comes here. The standard recommendation is 150 minutes of the moderate intensity or 75 minutes of the vigorous intensity. But it is very important to do the adequate warm-up and cool down. The caution for hypoglycemia should be taken. It is very important because patient goes into hypoglycemia, right? But in our clinic, we did 50 to 55 minutes of the exercises, and after 30 minutes, usually we give some form of the sugar to the patient. With the blood sugar levels, we have checked the SpO2 and the heart rate also pre and post exercises. Contraindication of the exercises: patient below the 100 milligram should not be taken for exercises or above 250. We have seen many of the time in our clinic that patient is having the blood, we check through the glucometer the blood sugar levels and seen the 100, so we have to refuse the patient. And the most important is severe proliferative diabetic neuropathy. You can't do a rehabilitation to a severe proliferative diabetic neuropathy because it leads a hemorrhage due to exercises. Management of the exercises. The role of the exercise, the short-term effect is there and the long-term effect is there. So due to the exercises, the muscle initially uses the glucose. Later, the glycogen is converted into the glucose and provides the energy. And long-term effect, I think everyone knows, it is for the better glycemic control. It lowers the risk of cardiovascular diseases and again the mortality. I think everyone is aware about the aerobic exercises, strengthening exercises, stretching, balance, and stability, depending on the patient's condition. So aerobic exercises, I think everyone is aware about what are the aerobic exercises. And aerobic exercises reduces HbA1c, triglycerides, and blood pressure. In the stretching and strengthening, patient with the diabetes, as I said earlier, there is a weakness in the knee and the ankle muscles. The muscle innervated specially by the tibial nerve are more affected than a peroneal. So, and second is the intrinsic muscles of the foot are weak. So there is an imbalance between the flexors and extensors, which leads to the clawing of the foot. So while examining also, you should take account of the all which are the specific muscle are weak and all the deformities and contractions. Can use different types of stretching and strengthening. Like you can start with the passive if the patient has severe clawing of the toes, and same can go to self stretch and progressive stretch. And the same for the strengthening also can start with the isometrics. Later, the patient who can do better, we added balance and stability also. We used a different dynamic supports like backboards, Bosu balls, foam pads, and even the balance board and the foam pads. One of the most important piece is the self-evaluation. Education of the patient is very important because patient comes to a physician or a therapist for the foot evaluation only once a year. But patient has to be educated to do the evaluation daily. Patient should check the entire surface of the patient should check the entire surface of the foot for the blisters, breaks, swelling, redness. Patient can use mirror if it is difficult to see or can take the family people help. Hygiene of the foot is again an important part because especially in the India, and use a lukewarm water, soap and moisturizers. I think we have talked about the footwear, that is socks and shoes, but it is very important to tell the patient to avoid the activities that can injure the feet, like walking barefoot, using heating pads, water bottles on the feet, because many of the time they have cramps, they have sometimes pain in their feet. So they use hot water bottle. So it is very important to educate the patient not to use hot water bottles on the feet. In the preventive measure, it is very important again to ask the patient to quit the smoking, and because the smoking increases the nicotine levels in the body, which causes the insulin resistance. So it is important that patient should either start reducing the smoking or can quit the smoking. We should encourage the patient to do at least once a year annual foot checkup and monitoring of HbA1c. Why I'm telling you monitoring of HbA1c? Because many of the time patient comes to us and tell my sugar levels are under control. And when you ask them, you say my current level is 180 or 200 like that. But if you will see the HbA1c, it is sometimes 7.8, 8 or even above 8. So it is always important to check HbA1c. And it is always good to check last three HbA1cs. So what are our learnings? We conducted a year-long camp in the clinic. We did assessment and the management. We treated 107 patients in the clinic, and maximum patient came to us was for the 2 months. We checked blood sugar levels before and after the exercises, and we saw there was a drop down of 24 to 60 milligram of sugar daily. Patient who exercised for a long duration, more than 3 months, we saw the reduction in HbA1c, as well as later the doctor reduces their doses. Due to the increase, second, what we started for the rehabilitation and for the better glycemic control, but later what we did, for every patient coming to the clinic, we started checking the diabetes in the detailed history of diabetes rather. So as the incidence of the diabetes is increasing in India, I will say the young physiotherapist can also act for the can take this as a profession, that rehabilitation in diabetes. So I will present such one case, 56 years old, female with the chronic bilateral knee pain, diabetes, high blood sugar level, cholesterol and hypothyroidism. Before she came to us, she has a HbA1c 7.7, and after the exercise of 3 months was 6.3, and later was 6.1. Her cholesterol dose was reduced to 50%. She had a shoulder tightness. She has a tiredness throughout the day. She was feeling fatigue and she was not able to stand for more than 10 minutes. Later, after the exercises of the 3 months, in her functional goal, that shoulder ranges were more than 20 degrees, increased level of energy. She was able to take care of the household work and she was able to stand even more than 30 minutes. So before concluding, I would like to acknowledge the sincere efforts taken by our team. This is our team. Thank you.
Hello, am I audible to everyone? Hello.
Hello. Any
Hello.
question?
Yes, ma'am. The presentations is very beautiful. We understood in very in detailed topic. And there are the few questions. Shall I start with the question, ma'am?
Yeah.
Yeah, ma'am. The first question is if the patient has loss of hot and cold sensation, can
Yeah.
physiotherapy help to get back to the sensation?
What we have seen in our two patients, basically, they came to us for the osteoarthritis of knee. And as I told that it is our daily practice. If the patient is diabetic, we do a complete diabetic evaluation. So we started for the one knee, right? And she has a problem of the sensation. So we did what I have explained, the intrinsic muscle exercises and all the proprioceptive exercises. So there was a little change in the sensation. What she was telling to us is, now I can feel the sensations little bit on my foot. So she asked us, she said, I want to start for the other foot also, because she came primarily to us for the knee pain. So we then started for the both the feet and we saw a difference in the even sensations.
Okay, thank you, ma'am. Next question. Hello.
Hello?
Ma'am, next question can I ask?
Yeah, sure, sure.
Next is can we please educate about the outcome measures which are specific to diabetic foot care and neuropathy?
Can you repeat the question again?
Yes, ma'am. Can you please educate about the outcome measures which are specific to diabetic foot care and neuropathy?
Yeah. So what we have seen in the clinic of the one for in the 107 patient is, one is as I said, while evaluating the diabetic patient, it is very important. First is take care of the sensations and evaluation in that is vascular. One is the vascular, one is the neurological, and the musculoskeleton. And can I show you the screen again? Wait. See, the most important piece in the diabetes is what I feel is the one is the contraindications, right? One is the contraindication. One. Second piece, what I feel is the most important is the how many minutes patient is exercising, like what is the standard recommendation. And the these are the two important things what I feel is, and every the patients are coming to us for the 2 months, so every 8th day we can check for the any fatigue, blood sugar levels, is there changes in the heart rate, because most of them were 45-50 plus.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question, ma'am.
Yeah.
Is there any guidelines for physiotherapy management on diabetic foot ulcer?
Yes, because the latest studies, I think 2019, the in the last there is a specific guideline on the 2012 is there about the diabetic foot management and rehabilitation. So they have recommended only aerobic and strengthening exercises for the rehabilitation, right? But we have added balance, stretching and strengthening because of the deformities. As I said, there are lots of deformities and the tightness of the muscle and the weakness of the muscle. But the guidelines have said that stretching and aerobic exercises, strengthening and aerobic exercises are the most important. I think there 2012's guidelines are there.
Okay, ma'am.
Yeah.
Next question, ma'am.
Yeah.
Can we use different sensory rehab techniques for sensory loss in diabetic foot?
Sure. We can use different sensory things in the sensory rehabilitation.
Okay, ma'am. Next question.
Yes.
Can we reduce sugar level if more than 300 to the physiotherapy if patient is taking insulin also?
We have, as I said, the people have 280, even the 300, but it will take more than 3 to 4 months. And you need a strong monitoring, because first patient should come for the 3, 4, 5 months, as I said. And we have worked more on HbA1c because it is a markers test. But what I see that if the blood sugar level is more than 300 or 300, then HbA1c will be maybe above 7.5 or 7.8, right? So if planning proper exercises with the exercise diet control, and if the patient is following the drugs properly, I think in a long term we can control blood sugar level of 300 also. But it will take time. It will not be in a month or a two, I think so, because our all studies are more than 2 months.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Next question, ma'am.
Yeah.
Any parameters to check whether the diabetic patient is improving apart from the sugar level improvement?
We checked 2, 3 things. We checked gait, because for the quality of life, it is very important. The gait is one of the important factor. What we did in the clinic, one. Second, we worked on the quality of life that patient can. We asked the patient first day, what are your functional goals? So we worked on the functional goals. And third is, we ask the patient to do their blood reports, like I said, triglycerides, then BP, because we check the heart rate also daily. pre and post exercise.
Sure, ma'am. Next question, ma'am.
Yeah.
Uh, any measures to control the deformity in diabetic foot?
Any measures to control the deformities?
Deformities
I
in a
think
diabetic
first
foot.
most important is the shoes. What I said, I have gone through the paper. I don't remember the name of the lady. She is a very famous in 60s in US, right? And she had an amputation of the foot. And the first thing she said, if I would have not used the pointed shoes, right? I think I can avoid. It was not. I can avoid the amputation. So I think for the deformities, one most important thing is one a regular set of exercises, because there is a weakness in the intrinsic muscles of the foot, right? So it is very important that patient should go to the physiotherapist. Patient that physiotherapist can evaluate all the deep intrinsic muscle and plan the exercises. And second is shoe modifications.
Okay.
You can educate the patient about the pointed, why not to use the pointed shoe, because I think now it is in trend.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Next question, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, any modality we use for treating the treat to heal the ulcer?
We have not taken the ulcers patient, right? And in India, I think patient don't come to physiotherapist with ulcers, but we have taken the patients having calluses, right? And what we did, we took the pictures of the calluses, as I said in my slides also. You should take account of the calluses while planning the exercises. The where is the pressure is more on the first metatarsal or the second metatarsal, because callus the after the callus ulcer starts. So I have not treated any patient of ulcers, but we have seen after exercising for 20 days or a month, there was a reduction in the callus. So that is, we can go up to callus, I think, because I don't think the patients with the ulcer will come to for a physiotherapy to the physiotherapist. They will go
Oh,
directly to the diabetologist or the surgeons.
okay, ma'am. Next question, ma'am.
Yes.
Any preventive measures during exercises?
Preventive measures, as I said, you should always, if you are, especially if you are rehabilitating for the glycemic control, it is very important that daily you should check blood sugars, pre and post. And the patient having sugar less than 100 or more than 250. You should
Okay.
not take those patients, number one. And second, I said the proliferative diabetic neuropathy patient, because what I have seen my patient, the patient with the stroke came to us. He had a diabetic neuropathy, severe proliferative diabetic neuropathy, and only with the simple shoulder flexion, he had a hemorrhage.
Yes, ma'am. Next question, ma'am.
Yes.
The basic home exercise for daily and to increase the vascular flow.
What in the vascular flow, what we have seen in the clinic, that I think patient can do at home. So we even monitored the discoloration of the skin, right? That
Yes.
discoloration of the skin up to the forefoot, midfoot, or hindfoot, or it is half of the, like the calf muscle up to. So if the patient is exercising on a daily basis, strengthening the intrinsic muscle and the calf muscle gastrocnemius, so you can, I will not say the vascular control, but I have seen the changes in the skin coloration, number one. Second, they can very well do the exercises, because for the intrinsic muscle exercise, you don't require gadgets like a balance board or foam pad. Simple towel and I think simple small things at home, they can do exercise.
Okay.
Most important is, I think we should educate the patient why we are doing this, right? What we have, we are doing in the clinic, we show the intrinsic muscles of the foot on the laptop to the patient, and so see we are working on these muscles. You can do this way, so we can see this result. We set the goals, so they can definitely do exercises at home also.
Yes, ma'am.
But there should be, I think, monitoring by a physiotherapist, at least a monthly basis or quarterly basis.
Yes, ma'am. Can you tell next question, ma'am?
Yes.
Can you elaborate the sensory rehab exercise for diabetic foot?
In this, for the sensory rehab, what we started in the first with the supine, in the patient was in supine, then we developed one kit of the different textures, right? And we asked the patient, as I said, that we started taking care of like small cottons and different textures. We asked the patient, are you feeling the touch and everything? And 2 point discrimination, 1 point discrimination, we did that way. Then if the patient was able to appreciate those things, deep sensations, superficial sensations, so small things in the, like they are available in the house also, but we developed one kit, and then uh, for 10 to 15 minutes in the daily rehab, we did this type of exercise.
Thank you, ma'am. Next question, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, what kind of shoe we should advise to the patient in diabetic foot?
If the patient is having a diabetic ulcer, then there are specific diabetic foods are available. But if the patient is not having ulcers, so before prescribing any shoes, I think you should take care of callus, right? And after looking at the callus only, you should advise the foot, any footwear. But definitely, as I said, that pointed shoes and high heels should not be used. You should have always a broad toe box. That is the most important, and the medial arch. These are, I think, two important things that they should not use a pointed shoes because they have sensory loss.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Next question, ma'am.
Yes.
Yeah. How much we can delay the amputation in chronic cases?
Not understood. How much?
How much we can delay the amputation if the case?
I can't answer this question directly because if we will go step by step, like I said, if we will examine the foot, then we will plan the exercises, and the most important piece is amputation. Is the education, sorry, the most important piece is the education of the patient while we are doing this, because many of the things has to be done by the patient on a daily basis. If you will educate the patient on a daily basis, because patient is not going to the doctor or a therapist or a even the foot surgeons on a daily basis. So if you educate the patient that you should check the foot evaluation should be done by this daily basis, then I think definitely we can reduce the percentage of amputation.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yes.
Ma'am, any physiotherapy techniques if the patient's complaining of burning sensation in his feet?
Burning sensation is basically due to the I think sensory things. So exactly, I can't answer, but I think if the patient are working on the hamstring, gastrocnemius, or just intrinsic or extrinsic muscles, right? So what we have seen in some patient, not all, I think one or two patient, what they have told us, after strengthening for 15 to 20 days, their burning sensation has reduced. But it was only for a one or two patient, I think.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am. Next question, ma'am.
Yes.
Should we only start strengthening exercises for the patient whose sugar is under control?
The sugar is under control. Yeah. As I said, the recommendation guidelines for the diabetic rehabilitation is basically aerobics and strengthening exercises. So if the sugar is in control, still we should do it because there is a management of the diabetes. There is no cure of the diabetic, right? If you
Yes,
will
ma'am.
educate, what I feel that you should educate the patient even in the pre-diabetic phase. right? Ki
Yes, ma'am.
strengthening is important, weight, BMI is important. So all these things, the foot care is very, very important thing. Not only the foot care, we tell each and every patient that you should go to the ophthalmologist every year and do a test for a glaucoma, and they should do a kidney function test yearly. So I think we should educate every patient in the pre-diabetic phase so that you can reduce the burden of financial burden of the patient.
Sure, ma'am. Thank you. Next question, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, any specific exercise regime for general diabetic patients without diabetic foot?
Without diabetic foot, yes. General, I think if it is the 40 minutes of daily exercises, then patient can do 10 to 15 minutes of the aerobic exercises, 10 to 15 minutes. It is not general. I can give you general outline, but if you do it tailor made for each patient, because see, the age is important, then the job is important day by day what we see. So you can add exercises according to that, but you should plan lower limb exercises more than upper limb exercises, as the muscles innervated by tibial, peroneal and the tibial are affected. So I think you should, while planning in exercises, you should plan more for the lower limbs than the upper limb, but strengthening aerobics and little bit of stretching.
Okay. Thank you so much, ma'am. Next question, ma'am.
Yeah.
Ma'am, how to improve gait? Any specific advice to them?
Gait is the end result of all the exercises, right? So there is no one particular thing that you can increase the gait by either by stretching or by these exercises. As I said earlier, you should evaluate every patient thoroughly, and there should be a tailor-made solution for patient. Like what we have seen, sometimes the hams muscles are weak, so you have to work on the hams. Age, if it is a sensory problem, so you are giving more time for those things like educate and intrinsic muscle exercises. But it is very important, two factors in the gait. One is sensory input, as I said earlier, and intrinsic muscles of the foot.
Sure, ma'am.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yes.
Can we give the progressive resisted training program in diabetic neuropathy patient?
Diabetic neuropathy we can give, but we can't give, as I said, in retinopathy, proliferative diabetic retinopathy. Those are not patient for a physiotherapist. We can take, but precaution definitely should be taken, because you should take amount care of the blood sugar all the time. So you can do that.
Okay, thank you. Next question, ma'am.
Yes.
Ma'am, next question is how to control swelling in a foot in diabetic patient.
Uh, it is not different than the other swelling in the, as we said, it's a rice formula, you can say, but its compression, you can ask the patient to elevate the feet. And again, the strengthening of the foot muscle is has an important role in managing the swelling.
Yes, ma'am. Ma'am, many more questions has coming, but as a time limit, ma'am, now I proceed to Sonal, ma'am. Please. Thank you so much, ma'am. You have answered all the questions, and thank you so much, ma'am.
Thank you everyone for listening me patiently.
Yes, ma'am.
I have a
Over to
little
you,
bit
Sonal,
of
ma'am.
phobia, stage phobia, so I don't know.
No, ma'am. You're done. Over to Dr. Sonal Bhagat, ma'am.
Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Pallavi. Thanking is an expression of gratitude. I'm so honored to express my gratitude with a vote of thanks for illuminating this webinar. Myself, Dr. Sonal Bhagat, on behalf of IPWC, extend my sincere thanks to one and all. First, and for her presence, she withdrew her valuable time for us from her busy schedule. Her own ideas and the style of explanation of the topic is extensive. Thank you so much, ma'am. I wish to express my gratitude to our I wish to express my gratitude to our national head, Dr. Ruchi ma'am, and an IIP President Executive, Dr. Sanjeev Jha, event. Events like this cannot happen overnight. We'll start rolling weeks ago. It requires plans to be backed up by a team of 10 with our pillars of state coordinators, Dr. Suvarna Gambhir ma'am, and joint coordinator, Dr. Snehal Patel ma'am. Thank you so much, ma'am, for your support. I extend my thanks to our state sub-coordinators, Dr. Uttara ma'am, Dr. Nirali ma'am, and Dr. Priya ma'am for their cooperation and organization of this webinar. I also thank the IIP India technical team. Without their support, the event won't be so easy. Special thanks to my teammates, the Nagpur District Coordinator, Dr. Megha Ladhava and Dr. Pallavi. Last but not the least, I extend my thanks to all our participants in the webinar. You all are incredible listeners. Thank you guys for making this event a success. With the enlightened memories, I declare the end of the webinar session here. Thank you. Stay healthy and safe. Have a good day.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Team IIP Women's Cell. And thank you, Megha.
Thank you, ma'am, for accepting our request.
Thank you.
We'll call off.
Yeah.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Yeah.